So let me tell you guys something. Recording the podcast is not hard. It's the setup and like arranging your thoughts, and that's a job, and to show up. So anyway, I'm back. I had a little bit of a mental breakdown. I'm very good at having like silent mental breakdowns. So I did have a little bit of a mental breakdown, but I'm back, and today we are shooting the season finale. Woo! Today we are shooting end of season 1, and welcome back to the Basement Child podcast. My name is Kezia. Thank you so much for being here. Your support means everything to me. So obviously it's Christmas season. Next week, as I'm shooting this, Monday ni Christmas Day. Na nimeona mmeenda ushago, watu wako Eldoret, watu wako Bungoma, watu wako Kisumu, watu wako Kakamega. Mnapenda ushago. So I wanted to share like a bit of what my experience with Christmas was as a child, but not as a child really, but yes, as a child and a teenager, from the perspective of ule mtoto wa ushago. So when all the cousins are traveling from Nairobi, their houses, their neighborhoods, walikuwa wanakuja malimi niko. You know what that means? Slavery. Makazi. So first of all, when I was in high school, I went to a school that's in the western part of Kenya, and I have family there. So I have my grandma and my mom, and it just automatically happened that every time I would leave school, maybe most of the time I would go to my grandma's house. But while I was in Form 3 once, I was really flopping in school, and one of my family members decided to host me as I take tuition classes in Nairobi during the holidays. And obviously at Form 3, how old was I? 15, I think. Yeah, 15. I'm 16, either 15 or 16. And I had made friends like in the funkies that I used to go to. I had made friends everywhere on my phone, like internet friends. And sometimes when we were in Nairobi, we used to like to go meet at the mall. So where my uncle was staying was near a certain mall on Thika Road. And one day, my friend was like, oh yeah, what's up? Tukwapa Garden City, so you come through. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I'm also just here. In fact, it's walking distance. I don't even need money to come there. And I remember that day we were just me and my uncle's house help, and my cousins were in school. So I think they were in school, or they were hanging out with their friends or something. I can't remember what they were doing. So see me, I'm excited. I walk. I didn't even tell anyone, like ask for permission or anything, which was my bad, of course. But also I was 15 or 16, so cut me some slack. You know, so I go, I meet my friends, we have a good time. And then after like 2 hours, my uncle calls me. Uko wapi? Where are you? Who gave you permission to go to the mall? Nilipashwa, by the way. But I went back home and then I apologized, and it was cool. Nikakula lecture zangu. And it was fine, right? I went back to school and I thought everything was normal. So how it used to happen in high school is that during closing day, your parents sent fare for you to like for transport. They sent transport for you to go back home. And what for Nairobi, I think Easy Coach was like 1200 or 1500 at the time. And then kulikuwa na watu wa shuttle wa thao. Then the other areas was like 500, 600, 800 for fare only. Like if your parents would send more, like, you know. So this time, the transport that was sent for me was looking like Kakamega. But no one had talked to me about this. But like, ever since my parents left in 2013, I always like just went with the flow. Like mali tu naitwa ndio mali nitaenda. Like it was either that or my grandma's house. I love my grandma so much. Like she has held me down. Na high school nawambia nilisumbua. Nilisumbua sana, by the way. I think in high school that's when I met like the love of my life. Nilisumbua, guys. Properly. Like I was stressing my mother out to the point that she wasn't getting out of bed. Sorry, mom. Anyway, so now I was telling you guys the story about Inform 3. So now see me nimetuma fare like transport that looks like a Kamega. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's like a get together or something. Like I didn't think anything of it. I didn't overthink it. I go back up country to my grandma's house, and the first thing I noticed is everything that was ever in my uncle's house. And mind you, I had grown up in my uncle's house for some time, like 50-50. I was always there, like swimming costumes zangu when I was a baby. Not a baby, but like when I was around 6-7 years old. And we are talking, at this time, I'm like 15 or 16. Like everything I ever owned in my uncle's house was put in one. I don't know if you guys remember those big plastic paper bags, the yellow zenye zilikuwa na calendar na wanyama. I'll try and find a photo and insert for my YouTube gang. Anyway, everything that I ever owned was put in that bag and was just like sitting there. And my mom couldn't even explain to me what had happened. My grandma couldn't explain to me what had happened. But then, of course, you read in between the lines. If you can't behave in people's houses, go back to your mother's house. Go back and live the way you want to live. My life right now looks like it's all roses and nice. Nimetoka mbali, guys. I've been thrown around like a football. A literal football. And it really broke my heart because no one had a conversation with me. But it's fine. So where I'm leading to with this story is, I was those kids when cousins and uncles and aunties are coming from up country, are coming from Nairobi to up country. Now I was one of those kids, me and my 3 brothers. At the time we were 4 siblings. You'd find us there. You know what that means? Slavery. It just means slavery, manze. Kufanya tu makazi. And it was fine for me because mi nilikuwa kichwa ngumu, by the way. I would never ever do something that I didn't want to do. Ati yo sijui enda kwa shamba ulime who? Who? Me. And it was okay. Like it was an okay experience. But then, now this is like what today's podcast is about. So I remember even if it wasn't Christmas, like just during the year when my uncles would come home, like would come up country, which is their home, I would panic because my grandma, who was so loving and like loved us so much and provided everything for us, would all of a sudden like switch up, and we would be her little helpers, but in a negative way. Mara watoto wa Nairobi, they don't know how to use the toilet. You know, like the latrine. So ati, we take them to the neighbor's house who has a better toilet than us. Can you imagine how crazy that sounds? Like I remember we'd be sent to the shop 101 times. Like tulikuwa tunafanya vitu kama kuchomea mtu mahindi. Like, oh, kuja. Like, I used to feel so bad for my brothers because, like, it was very hard for them to stand up for themselves. You see, for me, like, my personality, just the way I was born, it's hard for you to, like, push me around. I mean, you might succeed a little, but then I'm very good at rebelling silently. Like, you'll just be like, do this, you'll say it like 100 times, and I'll say, okay, and then I won't do it. But for my brothers, like, they were just being used vibaya. This is turning out to be a sad story. Yeah. But anyway, the reason I hated Christmas or anytime people would go to SHAGZ is because, first of all, we used to be looked at like we are less than the kids from Nairobi. Of which I know we were not. And it used to keep me up at night, you know? And if you're going to SHAGZ, there are those aunties of yours or like your parents' siblings who have kids there in SHAGZ. Please treat them properly. Don't make them feel less. Christmas in SHAGZ for me isn't all that. Like, I don't enjoy Christmas in SHAGZ. Even now when like my life is better, and even when I go, like, I don't like to push my brothers around. Like, I would rather not be there because when you're there, like, hosts feel like, oh, the kids who live there are the ones to be sent, are the one. I've just remembered, we used to be kicked out of bedrooms. We used to be told that we are so dirty, like where we are living is so dirty. Wow, let me tell you guys something. Relatives, to me, will always be horror. Like, I'm sorry. Especially like in the African setting, if your parents' siblings make it better than your parents, you will feel the pinch of it, no matter what. And then they push that bad attitude to their kids, and then now their kids start feeling like they're better than you, you know? And it just made Christmas and holidays such an unpleasant experience for me and my brothers. And to this day, I've dedicated my life to making my brothers' lives better in every way that I can, just so that even when I have kids, it's not like my kids are better than theirs because probably like I had a better life than them or anything like that. We are all the same. We are a family. We love each other regardless of wherever your parent is in life, you know, because we are just kids. Obviously, we didn't choose to be in this situation where our mom is staying with her mom up country. You know, like, sisi tulijipata tu hapa, so why do you need to be so nasty? Anyway, yada, yada, yada. This was supposed to be a short episode. So now I'm experiencing Christmas with my parents and my mom, like to my mom and dad. Christmas has always been a big deal. Like, we put up lights, we put up decorations, we do gifts. My mom now has this tradition where like they do pajamas, and it's just the most amazing thing ever. It's beautiful, and I hope I can pass down this tradition to my kids, to my brother's kids. By the way, I'm the only daughter. on my birth mom's side, we are 6 of us, and I'm the firstborn, and I'm the only girl, and then the rest are boys, and there's a set of twins. How cool is that? And like, obviously, as the years go by, life is becoming better. My relationship with them is becoming better. And I pray to you who's watching this, if you're that kid that maybe isn't in a family that's so well off and you feel like, oh, they're better than me. They're not. It's like, you work hard, focus on your own life. You don't have to live forever in the situation that you are born in. You can always make your life better. God can always like send a miracle your way. And yeah, so anyway, come on and SHAGZ, please behave. Treat people with respect, regardless of how much money is in their pocket, regardless of the kind of shoes they're wearing, regardless of the kind of toilet they use, regardless of like anything. Just be decent. You know, that's the least you can do. Be decent. Wapelekea ma snacks, but don't like... Obviously, kama... I remember like my cousins would ask my brothers, Ushaikula KFC? Ushaikula KFC? And it was just like, wow, how shady, you know. But anyway, like, kids will always be kids, and kids only behave in a way that their parents have taught them. So for me, I'm very loving towards my cousins. I love them so much, by the way, with all my heart, and I have no animosity towards them. But every part of me just blames their parents for not doing better, for just like being blind towards like what they were teaching their kids. It's like, just because my sister made some mistakes in her life, it doesn't mean that like I'm better than her or anything. By the way, you know what? Without giving too much detail, I've come to learn that life does change. And the people at the top could very fast and easily come to the bottom. So treat people with dignity, treat people with respect during this holiday season. Stay safe, stay lovely. After my cousins, you know what cousins are for? Cousins are for doing sneaky things in SHAGZ, like sneaky fun things. Let's go behind the house and fukuza shetani. You know what I'm saying? So as our generation right now, before you have kids, and if you have siblings, like, build a good relationship with your siblings and just make it a point for like the generations coming forward to sequence a beef za ufala like our parents did. And thank you guys for all the support you've been giving me on my podcast since October when I started it. And like, I've found something to do with my creative side, with my storytelling side, with my talking a lot side, and I'm very grateful for that, of course. And during this holiday season, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas, of course a Happy New Year, and of course I'll see you next year. We will be bigger, better, brighter, more organized. I hope we'll be calmer, and I just hope that you guys can continue to spread love and kindness during this festive season. And from the Basement Child podcast, we would like to thank you so much from the deepest part of our hearts. Yeah, and I love you guys so much. Remember to subscribe on my YouTube, follow my Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and please comment and be part of the conversation. And I'm so grateful. Like, I can't express in words how grateful I am for how far we've come as a podcast. And thank you so much. And road to 100K. Shout out to everyone. Love and light. See you next year. Bye-bye.